Hi everyone, welcome to Water Tanks with stewiejp. I'm Stewie. You're not. In today's video is a beginner's guide to your first premium tank. You might remember about a month ago I did a beginner's guide to premium tanks, pointing out the advantages and the traps that some people fall into when it comes to purchasing a premium tank. And a shout out to my old mate Nick, who actually suggested in the comments, Stewie, why don't you do a guide to what somebody's first premium tank might be. I'm going to do that right now. Thanks very much, Nick. A very, very good point, and yeah, very good point indeed. I'm surprised nobody's done it before. If they have, well, good on them. Anyway, here we go. There are two ways of buying a premium tank. You can buy it from purchasing using money, using a credit card, or using PayPal through the premium shop, but you can also buy it through the tech tree using in-game gold. Now, you might have picked up some gold from an invitation code if you've just started playing water tanks. You also might have picked up some gold from a tournament, or doing some of the personal missions or other promotions that Wargaming do every now and again. You might be thinking about throwing 500 gold towards possibly a premium tank that you might have seen in the tech tree. Now, a couple of things that I would ask people to consider, especially if they're brand new to the game. If you're up to tiers 1, 2, 3, I would highly recommend that you just don't buy one yet. Just wait until you hit tier 5 or at least tier 4, because then you'll probably know what kind of direction you're going to be going in water tanks, what kind of tanks that you enjoy, whether it's heavy tanks, mediums, lights, tank destroyers, or dare I say it, artillery, and then you can probably make a little bit more of an informed decision about what tank to go for. Now, I did mention two pitfalls, or two big pieces of advice in the last video I did. One, don't buy a tank which is of higher tier than the tier that you're already at in water tanks, i.e. don't go out and buy a tier 8 premium when you're only up to tier 5, and also make sure you cross-train your crews. If you don't understand that, the simplest way to put it, if you've got a premium tank from the same nation and class as a tech tree tank you've already got, you can use the same crew in both of those tanks, and that is a very, very big advantage that a lot of people don't take advantage of in World of Tanks. Now, let's have a look at a few premium tanks. I'm going to go through a few that I might recommend, both via the premium shop and via the tech tree. We'll start off with the tech tree first. I'm going to go through each nation. I'm going to try and keep it pretty quick. Now, the German premium tanks, I probably wouldn't advise for a brand new player. There's some good ones. There's some good ones, all right. The ones in the tech tree are the Panzer Camp T25 or whatever the hell that's called. Yeah, I do have one. I don't think I've played any games in it. That's about 1,500 gold. And there's a couple of tier 3s for 1,000 and 900 gold respectively. None at tier 4 in the tech tree. In the Russian tech tree, now for a brand new player, I would not recommend any of those German ones, and I'll get to the reasons why in a minute. They're just not. Maybe not so newbie friendly, if you like. No disrespect to new players. Russian ones, on the other hand, if you really want a tier 3, tier 4, or tier 5 premium tanks, or even a tier 6, then I would recommend any of the tech tree Russian tanks. There's a T127 for 850 gold. The tier 4 Valentine 2. Now, the Valentine 2 is a very unique tier 4 premium light Russian tank, which doesn't see any tier higher than tier 4. So you will always be top tier in every single game. That's one of the unique characteristics of the Valentine 2. And the tier 5 premium tanks in the Russian tech tree, there's a Matilda, which some people love, some people hate, but a very, very popular choice is a Churchill 3, because it does have preferential matchmaking. You'll never see a tier 7 tank in this bad boy, but also, it's pretty forgiving. It's not the fastest tank in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but for 1,500 gold, it's not a bad choice for tier 5. And of course, if you want to go one step further and go to tier 6, again, I would only recommend doing that if you've already got a tier 6 tank. Then the T3485M, you won't go too far wrong with that, especially if you're interested in organised gameplay, skirmishes, tier 6 tournaments, or tier 6 skirmishes, platoons, all that kind of jazz. It's a very, very popular tank. But look at the price. The price does jump a bit from tier 5 to tier 6. That's 3,750 in-game gold. Going through the other nations, of course, you got a few American ones at low tier. Nothing really at tier 4, 5, or 6. So, you've only really got those lower ones, but there are more American choices in the premium shop. Same with Japanese. You got a tier 5 and a tier 6, a tier 5 medium, which isn't too bad, and a tier 6 heavy tank number 6, which looks a lot like a Tiger. Chinese, again, nothing really down in the low tiers, but the Type 64 is a very, very solid choice at tier 6. About, again, 3,500 gold. A little bit of a jump up from the 1,500 we saw at tier 5. Now, British, unfortunately, not much at all in the British on the British tech tree. Excelsior at tier 5 though, another solid choice for 1500 gold. Not one I've got, but I don't really get around at tier 5 too much. There's also Matilda Black Prince there, which I don't think many people are a massive fan of, but some people love them, of course. Down in the French tech tree, there's absolutely nothing until tier 8, so we'll skip that one. Let's go to T40 for the Czechoslovakian tech tree. That's not a bad choice either if you like tier 6 gameplay. Not too bad at all, but if you're interested in the Skoda T40, you're probably better off looking at the Swedish one, the STRV M4257. It's a 3-shot autoloader, and it's very, very fun to play for tier 6 organised gameplay, as well as your normal tier 6 games. Italy, nothing at all on the Czech tree, and Poland, there's the Poodle. Now, the Poodle I do have, and I reckon it's a good-looking tank, but another thing that I would really highly recommend you do is have a look at what kind of crew you're going to use in this tank. With the Poodle, I've got one, but unfortunately, I can't cross-train my crew because my Polish tier 10 tank is a heavy tank and the Poodle is a medium. And I went through that in the video last month. You really want to make sure you do have the ability to cross-train those crews. So if I was looking, I look at the Russian tech tree because it's a bigger tech tree. If I just slide this little bar along a little bit, if you're going through one of these lines, I'd be looking at where that line's going to end up. Is it going to end up with a medium tank or a heavy tank, for example? If you're on a heavy tank line, then by all means pick up the Churchill 3. But if you're really going to push towards those medium tanks, then maybe consider something else. Maybe the Matilda, or maybe even the T3485M, or maybe even look at the premium shop. Speaking of the premium shop, we'll have a bit of a look through there, and I'll also point out a few of the reasons why I might consider some tiers but not others. Where's the website gone? I don't know. Where the hell is it? Where's the button? There's the button. This is the website. This is the premium shop. When you go to the premium shop at World of Tanks website, this is what you're going to be met with. And there is a little bit, if you're a new player, there's a little bit of an overload of information. There's lots of different packages available. The T3485, which we just mentioned, this is the T3485 Rudy, which is slightly different to the T3485M, which is in the tech tree that we just looked at in the Russian line. But of course, they all come in these packages. It's from $90 down to $22. This is Australian dollars. I'm in Australia, and that's the currency that shows up on my premium shot. And if you look through all the different featured tanks, it can be quite overwhelming. So what I recommend you do, especially if you've never shopped in the premium shop before, go up to where it says vehicles, click on that, and you'll be able to filter by nations, by types, or by tiers. I'm going to filter it by tiers, and I'll start with tier 2. Now, tier 2 might look pretty attractive to you. You can see there's a T2 light tank for $6. This one's, and then you got some collectors things, which I don't know. It's up to you. If you're a tank collector, look, if you're brand new at the game, you're not going to really be interested in collecting too many tanks. Wargaming often give out tier 2 tanks for free, and I'll show you right now. We'll go back to my garage, and this is what I'm talking about. You can see just down there the heap of tier 2 tanks there. I've never purchased a tier 2 premium tank, but every now and then Wargaming, they just give them out, whether it's Christmas or New Year's or special occasions, sometimes for missions. They do give them out pretty regularly. So for that reason, I probably wouldn't recommend buying a tier 2 premium tank. As well as that, if you're up to tier 2 in your gameplay, you're not going to be there for very long. Generally, at tier 1, you'll play one battle and you've unlocked a tier 2 tank. Tier 2, you might play 2 battles and you'll unlock the tier 3 tank. And again, you're not going to spend too much time at tier 3 unless you really like that kind of gameplay, and there are names for people like that. Be it good, be it bad. I'm not judging anybody who sits around at tier 3, but if you're progressing through the tiers and you want to get a premium tank, I'd recommend you probably think about starting at tier 4, 5, or 6 if you want to get yourself a premium tank. Now, again, I'm not saying nothing against people who like tier 3, but you're not really going to learn the game playing tier 3. Looking back to the premium shop again, at the moment there's a tier 2 tank there, the T2 light tank. It's a pretty good tank, but it's a tier 2. The rest are collector's editions, which come with a group of different tier 2 tanks. Again, I really would not recommend that. Looking at the tier 3 ones, there's a few there, and you can see it's only an extra $1 to get a tier 3 premium tank compared to a tier 2. So if you're thinking about getting a tier 2, Why not just go for a tier 3? The matchmaker's the same. You only see one tier above you when you're running around in a tier 3 tank. There's a little bit of there for something. There's a German medium, a American light tank, a Russian light tank, and also a German light tank, as well as that another collector's bundle. Again, I wouldn't recommend a collector's bundle unless you've been playing for a while and you want to collect those tanks. But if you're just starting out, I would highly recommend, if you're going for a premium tank, to get a tank of the same nation and the same class as what you're working towards, and use that crew in both tanks. Moving up to tier 4 now. There's only one tier 4 in the premium shop on the day that I'm looking at it, and that's the Valentine 2. That's the same Valentine 2 that we looked at in the Russian tech tree not too long ago. It will not see a tier 5 tank unless you're platooning with somebody in a normal tier 4 tank, which might see tier 5s. Again, that's $7.87. That's in Australian dollars, compared to $7.20 or $7 even for a tier 3. So for an extra 50 cents or something like that, whatever it works out to be, you can get a tier 4 instead of a tier 3. I would highly recommend that, simply because tier 3, you're not going to be sitting at tier 3 for long, and it's going to get pretty old pretty quickly. Moving up to tier 5 now, and this is where the choices start to get a little bit better, and so does the price. They're up to $10 now, $10.73 most of them. One of them's $12.23, not sure why. That's the Matilda Black Prince, the British one. Nothing else comes with it. These are all just bare bones tanks. The tier 5 Japanese medium tank, the Matilda 4, the tier 5 Russian medium tank. There's a German, the Churchill 3, the Russian that we talked about, $10.73. Not too bad value there, because you're getting to tier 5 where you're going to spend a little bit longer at tier 5. When you're going through the tiers, regardless if you've got a premium account or a normal account, you're still going to spend a lot longer at tier 5 than you would at any tier below it, if you're going through the tiers and unlocking tanks as you go and purchasing them as you go. Tier 5 is where you're going to spend a little bit. You're going to start spending a little bit more time. So my recommendation, if you're looking at a premium tank, your first premium tank, is, if you're not yet up to tier 5, just wait, and wait till you are. And if you really want to buy a premium tank, pick yourself up something from tier 5. My recommendation from this screen, again, will be the Churchill 3. Look, the Excelsior might be a good tank as well. I'm not sure. Never played it. But again, the number one factor in your decision making really should be, what tier do you already have? What tank type do you already have, and what tank nation? If the answer for that is Russian heavies, pick yourself up a Churchill 3. If it's British heavies, good luck, and pick yourself up an Excelsior. If it's Japanese mediums, that is the way to go. Now, when you hit this tier 6, it starts to get a little bit overwhelming when you're looking at the premium shop. The choices really do go on forever. And again, the prices go up a little bit too. You're looking at $20 to $23. The cheapest one there is $20.03, and that's the Japanese Tiger, the heavy tank number 6. But most of them are around about the $23 mark. And again, there's some good tanks in here that would be good for organised gameplay, such as tier 6 skirmishes. Now, for a new player, for somebody who is new to the game, I would highly recommend meeting some people or joining in to some tier 6 skirmishes. The tier 6 Swedish, I think, is a very underutilized tank in skirmishes, or maybe people are starting to get stuck into it. I had a few games in it a while ago to try and get some missions, and it is an absolute ripper. The M4257, that is a very solid choice, as is the Type 4. The Poodle, like I said, I've got a Poodle and I love it. However, I don't have a crew for it, so which negates 50% of my reasoning for getting a premium tank. There's a Dickimax down there, which a lot of people don't like, but things that are quick and that you can get around. Then this one looks even better. This one here at the moment is cheaper than a Striv on its own, but you get some more things, so that might be another option. Now, hopefully, I'm not waffling too much, but I'm going to stop it at tier 6, because I think if you're looking at your first premium tank, tier 6 is probably as high as you want to go. But if you're going to get two things from this video, same as the first video that I did a month ago, the beginner's guide to premium tanks. Number 1, don't buy a tier that you don't already have. That's a really strong one. Please don't do it. You'll be letting yourself down. You'll be letting your teammates down, and you just won't enjoy it. And make sure you're looking at a tank where you already have that nation and that crew, and also consider where that line might take you. Not everybody's like me. I've got every tier 10 tank in the game except for one, or every tier 10 tech tree tank in the game except for one. Say that after a few beers. But you really want to make sure that you're utilising your crews and cross-training those crews between the tech tree lines that you might be grinding through and, of course, the premium tanks. And, of course, get the most out of those credits as well. Any questions, feel free to put them down below. My recommendation, Tier 5, Churchill 3. Tier 6, anything quick, nimble and fun, which is going to be good for skirmishes, such as the type... It's on the screen here. Why don't I just scroll down to it? The Type 64, which is right there, and of course that STRV M42 57. That's a pretty solid choice as well, and of course the T34 85M, or even the Rudy tank. But again, cross-train your crews, stick to the right tiers. Hopefully this guide has been of good use to you if you're brand new to the game. And like I said though, there are a couple of tanks that I would recommend, but the more important than my recommendation is the lines that you're going through and the ability to cross-train those crews, and don't play out of your depth. Thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks, Nick, for the suggestion. Hopefully this helps one or two of you out in your ways of choosing your first premium tank. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care and see you all next time.